Continuing with our series Insights on Insiders, we have with us Mr. Suraj Juneja. Sir has had such an illustrious career, founding and having successfully run so many companies. It is his latest one that has intrigued so many of us. He is the founder and chief ideator at Free Flow Venture Builders. Apart from this, he's also a horse at the popular web show Horses Stables. Sir is here with us today to enrich us with insights into his own life and advice for the rest of us. Welcome to Valuationary, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start with this. What does a typical day in your work life look like?
Well, a typical day is not very different from what many people's work life must be looking like. But mostly it starts with looking at the schedule for the day. Like most people must be starting their days with schedule for the day, with what meetings are there, what Zoom meetings are there today, what physical meetings are there, what kind of meetings we have to have in the office, what kind of discussions are pending, what kind of proposals are supposed to go, and so on and so forth. But before that, I always take about half an hour's time to, pen down my thoughts for the day, pen down maybe new ideas that I have for the previous night. I pen them down always because once the whole day starts with all the meetings and all the work of the day, then frankly, you don't get much time to get into, the time by yourself. So that I do always in the morning. I keep some time for myself where I pen down my thoughts, and then the day begins. And yes, throughout the pandemic, we have, though we had a phase where we work from home, but we've been working throughout because a lot of startups are working with us. A lot of startups got funded during the pandemic as well. So if not on Zoom, we also did a lot of physical activities during the pandemic. We had to have physical meetings. We also had an event, which was a pitching event, a funding event called the Freedom Pitch in the first lockdown. And of course, Free Flow is involved in a lot of relief work. So we were doing that as well. So both physical and the virtual world of ours was live pretty much. But yeah, that's the way it pretty much starts. And then yeah, it goes into meetings and Zoom meetings. Our pitch from startups that come to us that pretty much has a large size of the day that that takes from us. We are working with more than 250 startups now. So on any given day, maybe we are listening to 15 to 20 pitches from different startups from different industries all over India. And then the startups who are working with us, we have a dual role to play. So we are also pitching them to various investors who we think would suit those startups and who would fit the bill, the work which is has been done, and those startups that are investable, we pitch them further. So yeah, we have two kinds of meetings: one where we are seeing the pitches, and one where we are pitching to various other investors. And there are some startups and some ventures where we build them ourselves or we fund them ourselves. So then those have a different line of work altogether. So yeah, so that's pretty much how it goes.
Well, that definitely sounds like a really productive and busy schedule. And it feels like you're pulling off a bit of an Elon Musk here. So how did you manage to run three companies at once?
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, it's six companies. So it's even better, yeah. But a lot of people have asked me that, and that is one of the key things that I keep telling everybody. It's not about how many companies you're handling or how much of work you're doing or what you're doing in in your time, in your 24 hours or 16 hours that you get per day. But see, you can look at it this way. If I was doing everything that I can for a particular company, then maybe I would have just been handling one company. But because I'm a part of six companies, and because it's this particular ethos that we preach and we follow also, where we only do the stuff that we are good at. So I only play the role that I am very good at or what I want to play in all of these six companies. So it can also be 10 now, but I'll only play the role that I am good at: conceptualization, ideation, strategy, growth, growth hacks, and starting up those companies, growing them. So that's my role in those companies. I don't do stuff which is not my forte. I don't do stuff which is not liked by me. I only do things that I love, and hence there's no stress. Hence it's all. So if you can make me work 20 hours a day, but if I'm doing stuff that I love, I'll do it the entire day without having any stress. I can run 10 companies, and that's what we also tell others to kind of follow.
Well, that certainly sounds really inspiring, sir. And moving on to the next question. I assume as a venture builder, an important part of your job must be to ask the right questions. When a company
Right.
approaches you, what do you look for in them, perhaps? And then, what's your process of creating the ideal plan for its future?
Okay, so for this question, I think first I'll have to tell you what is venture building. So, because a lot of people or a lot of companies in India don't do venture building. We are among the very few who are perhaps doing this and doing this successfully now. So, when in a typical startup, when you hear of so many startups starting every day, you've heard of this statistic, right? You go to any major event or you see any of these promotional videos or motivational videos, you'll always hear that 91% startups fail. 92% startups fail. Why do they fail? Maybe one of the reasons is what we're trying to retract by promoting venture building. I believe that once a particular founder starts a company and he builds his or starts his startup and he listens to all these jargons, work hard and do whatever it takes and eat, sleep, breathe your startup and, do everything and no, nothing is small, do whatever it takes to grow and build your startup and all that. Everybody hears this, all youngsters, all young startups are only listening to this, that work hard, do this, do that. And I think that is the reason why they fail, why a lot of them fail. That's the essence of where venture building comes in. So let's say if I want to start a new business today, or I want to start a startup, and if I, as a person, want to do everything in that, after hearing all this, that Suraj, do this, do that, eat, breathe, sleep, your startup, and this. So I'll try to do the marketing, I'll try to do the finance. Founders start even doing the HR, they start to do operations and everything, what they feel that is required in that business, because every business requires all of these. However, that particular guy or that particular team or that person or that founder and the co-founder, they are good at one particular thing. So if a business needs, let's say, 100% of five things, which is 20% marketing, 20% finance, 20% operations, 20% HR, 20% whatever else, tech, let's say, it can't be done by the same person, can't be done by the same team. So if I try to do everything, obviously only 20% or max 30% will be done brilliantly well, because those are the things that I am good at. But 70% of the things will not be done well. In fact, it'll be detrimental of the company because I'm trying to do it myself. That's not my forte. I'm bad at it. So that is why we have this whole concept of left brain and right brain. Some people are creative, they think of ideas, they think of branding, marketing, advertising, and some people are there who only think of numbers. They are better at accounts, numbers, finance, projections, etc. These two are different people. So venture building is something which what we do is, so if everybody in a particular venture or in a particular business does what they're great at and does what they love to do, what do you think the probability of success will be of that company? It's obviously much, much higher. So it works very well. We've tried it. It's very fast. Companies start like this, they grow like this, they do extremely well. And because everyone is doing what they love, everyone is doing what they're great at, and they're focusing on it. So that's one way of doing it. That's venture building. The same thing, just get back to the same example I gave you, that you and I think, let's start a company and we'll have an edtech company. And I say, okay, you do the content, please also do some marketing and sales. Put some time into the tech and look at the tech team and what they're doing. And I'll be like, okay, I'll do the marketing and liaison, but I'll also run after investors, try to get money. There goes. So that's where the focus area goes. That's where the stress comes in, because you're doing stuff which you're not comfortable with. In fact, comfortable is still a good word. There's stuff that I hate to do. I don't want to do that. But people, start doing that. So I think venture building is the way forward in the future. It's an era of collaboration, and this is the best way you can collaborate to build new ventures and build new companies, by giving the right guy the right thing to do based on what he likes to do and based on what he's great at. And to sum it all up, that is venture building.
Certainly, startup life does seem a bit complicated. So,
Yeah.
moving to the next question. Do you think more people are taking the plunge into the entrepreneurial life without really knowing what it means in terms of the opportunity cost, or without conducting adequate feasibility studies for the product they plan to offer?
Yes, well, some people do, but now it depends completely on the kind of founder and the kind of product that they're coming up with. sometimes it's good to just say, screw it, let's do it. Like Richard Branson says, and that's his book. That's why it's called Screw It, Let's Do It, because let's not think of something, let's not overthink this, let's not wait that everything will be perfect, and let's not, say that, okay, my friend says it's a great idea, or my colleagues say it's a great idea, or my customer says it's good, then only I'll want to plunge in. No. If you think it's good, if you feel it's good, if you have that kind of conviction, just do it. So it depends on that kind of founder. If he is like that, if his mindset is like that, if the product and service and solution is somewhat in that periphery where he can just say, okay, let's do this. I think that's a great attitude to have. It's not bad. Do that. But some things, some products or some services which maybe are already there in the market may not be very disruptive. Maybe you have competitors, maybe you have other people, doing the same thing. Then you need a little bit more of, let's say, a study or a feasibility study. Is my product or my service or my solution as good as my competitors? Is my pricing as good as, let's say, my competitor is giving in the market? Is my value proposition as good for the price? Am I giving better? Am I delivering more? Am I delivering less? Are my product features in line with what the customer is asking? Then yes, a feasibility study is required. If you're competing with many more people, and if there is, you're doing something which is already there in the market and trying to do it a little bit. But yeah, if you have a new idea and it's disruptive, I think don't wait. I mean, I think you should just take the plunge as an entrepreneur. You should just go ahead. And of course, you learn while you start, you evolve. I mean, that's how, that's the best way to learn is you just start, you just throw yourself in the water, you have to swim. So it's like that.
So as you talked about founders, as all of us have seen the glamorous stories of Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs dropping out of colleges and starting their own entrepreneurial ventures and then going on to become such huge sharks in the entrepreneurial world. Now,
Yeah.
well, this is a pretty case by case question, but generally, would you encourage people to finish their graduation before venturing out, or do you think dropping out as a concept is now quite too glamorized?
Like you rightly said, it is a case to case basis question. And it's kind of related to the last question you asked me that, it depends on the person's mindset. So if he is of a mindset that, screw it, let's do it, then even leave your graduation for now and give it a shot. Leave your, if you want to drop out of school or high school or college or even your MBA, and if he thinks the opportunity is right, yes, a person could do that. But I would say, I had this question by this question came to me as well. So I was doing my MBA, or it was just in the beginning of, I was going to start my MBA actually. And I had this brilliant idea about e-commerce. E-commerce had just come into the market that time. And I just was hell-bent that I want to start, business right away. And I don't want to do my MBA. I'd rather drop out right now and I'd do this. Fortunately, I decided to complete my MBA. I didn't drop out at that time, because I believe that that business is not the only thing that I'm going to be doing, and rightly so that I'm doing maybe 10 other businesses, and I knew that for just one business or one idea which I'm liking so much, I shouldn't leave this entire exposure that I'm going to get from my education, the mindset that is going to be evolving thanks to doing an MBA, the people that I'm going to be meeting, the way of thinking that is going to change. So I said, let's do it. I wanted to do the education, but I knew I'm going to come up with 10 more things. It's not that if I lose this opportunity, if I have the brains and if I have the wherewithal, I'll come up with so many more things. So I did that. And in fact, I think that turned out to be quite good, because even if I talk about MBA, it's not about what they teach you in the books or what you learn from what you're reading, when you're doing an MBA course or maybe any other course, but it changes the way you think. So the way you address a problem, or the way you speak to a person when they ask you something, or when you have a problem of your own business in front of you, your thought process changes. Suddenly, it starts becoming very, very formatted, and you have a way of thinking, which without that education, maybe it would take little more time to get to that level. So that's one thing. Second thing, obviously, I purposely did a lot of live case studies. I did a lot of live work with companies while I was studying, even undergraduate and even during my postgraduate in MBA. So that taught me a lot more. So like I'm saying, I'm not a guy who's too much into bookish knowledge and too much into theoretical stuff. But if you get a chance in any college, and every college today gives a chance to do that, and of course it's a personal choice as well. But you should always go and try to get industry experience, try to get real live experience from things that are happening. Work with other companies, do projects and case studies with them. That teaches a lot. So I did some brilliant case studies that time that really, really helped me in the future, because I knew how to address, real life situations and problems and cases. So yeah, so education definitely helps. So I think you should always do that.
So now, as you rightly talked about how education is important, and also how being an entrepreneur is a case by case basis. Something else I wanted to ask you is that what kind of character traits, as you've definitely met so many different entrepreneurs in your life. So, what do you think that what kind of character traits would really help an entrepreneur on his journey? And if there was something you wanted to warn someone before embarking upon their entrepreneurial life, what would it be, sir?
See, the three most important things that I look for are actually not to do much with their talent and stuff like that. The first thing I would say is being ethical. It's very, very important as an entrepreneur to be ethical first and to come across also as ethical. Second is definitely sincerity, that you should be absolutely sincere with your work. If you're saying something, you must believe in it, that yes, this is what it is and this is what I'm going to achieve. So sincerity definitely. And third, I would say perseverance. So perseverance is extremely important for any entrepreneur because there are so many ups and downs in your cycle of business, the cycle of work, even before your product is launched. So if you keep going at it, there is no way that you can, you won't succeed. But yeah, I mean, if a particular entrepreneur says that no, I've had too much, I'll probably give up and stuff like that. So that is what I would like to warn them with, that such situations will come, but it's only the matter of who gave up and who didn't. So those who didn't give up and those who persevered are the ones who actually made it. And the ones who said, forget it, I'll have an option B in my head, because a lot of people come with this. I have an option B. If my startup doesn't work, then I'll take this job. Or if my startup doesn't work, then I'll do this thing or I'll do that thing. Um, that's good in a practical sense, but I'm completely against that, because the moment your mind believes that, oh, you know what, there's an option B, so you can take it easy here. Don't worry, don't stress too much about it. Then it's not going to work. If you believe that this is the thing for me, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this successful no matter how, and go ahead with it with full steam. I think that is what I look for in every entrepreneur and every founder. And I think that's the way they need to think. The talent, the knowledge, which college they come from, all that is secondary. And I've seen the best of entrepreneurs or the best of founders from, let's say, the best universities in the world or even in India, and they failed. And the guys who've actually been from the smallest of universities that you've not even heard of have got multi-million dollar rounds now, and they're like, right up there. So it's not about the talent, it's not about where you're passing on from or where you are come from. It's about these things, which is much more important. So yeah, that's there to answer your question.
All right, thank you, sir. Now, talking a bit about your own career, what do you think has been the best career decision of your life so far?
So before Free Flow, I was doing various businesses which I just like to do. I marketing guy, so I had a marketing agency. We manufacture signage. I had an e-commerce company, and I'm a biker myself. So I've ridden a sports bike, super bike all over the country. So I started an e-commerce thing about biking accessories. So all the stuff that I like to do, what I enjoy to do, I kept launching those products and services and brands and everything. So yes, that happened. But again, like a normal entrepreneur, I was literally doing everything in those companies. So I had to manage those companies completely. Which is when one day I realized that, how can I have a system where I will only do the stuff which I am good at, which I am great at, and which I love to do. And there is somewhere that I will not do the stuff that I don't want to do. And that actually was the birth of Free Flow. That's how Free Flow came into picture. As in, I said, okay, this is one place where I can conceptualize ideas, I can conceptualize new products, I can build ventures with other founders and startups, and we can keep creating and building new things. And we have an ecosystem of people who want to do the work which I'm saying I don't want to do. If there is some particular role that I say I love to do and I don't like some role, then there is someone who loves that role and does not like what maybe I like to do. So we formed a whole ecosystem, and I think that was the best career decision, because it's worked out exactly what I had thought it's going to be like, and it's worked out not only for me but also for others that we are helping and who we are working with. And I think that is the best thing that we did. And frankly, it came out of an IIT event that I had gone as a speaker. There was a hackathon for entrepreneurs. So I was a part of the jury, and I was making a a small session over there about entrepreneurship. And that's when I realized, these guys are so brilliant, brilliant young engineers, brilliant young guys, came up with such super products, somebody to robotics, somebody to mobile apps, somebody to, some sensors. And then they get jobs in some other places and they're doing stuff which is not what their skill set matches with or what they like to do, or they could have done so much better. So that's when this entire thing came to me that, let's form this entire ecosystem, get help for these people who can do such amazing stuff. They don't have to take jobs that they don't like. They can be entrepreneurs. And yeah, they get right help from the right people, build a venture with, the right team, and it can work wonders. And I think that was the best decision of me.
All right. As you talked about the mismatch, us at Valuation, we also have a lot of students come to us, and we've realized that what they actually learn at the colleges and universities and what they're actually supposed to do at their workplaces, there's a huge mismatch in that. Now, I'm sure that you also realize that. So, if you could shed some light on that, and also, how do you feel that how much has your alma mater played a role in bringing you to where you are today?
Okay, so the first question that you asked, that what they learn in college and what they learn in let's say the educational institute, and what they have to do in the jobs or the real life, there's a huge gap. Definitely a huge gap. Um, Again, I said that there's too much of theory going on when there is institutes, or when you are in an institute or a university. But when you go out there in the world, then you have to actually have so many skill sets which evolve much further than just what you learned in the book. Now, I'll give you one example of again the IIT students that I was talking about. One of them had built a sports car out of chocolate or something like that in IIT, and which went till a speed of 200 kilometers an hour. So he was that good. He was that good. And when he got to know that I have some links with people into Formula One and Formula Three and everything, he was very excited as a connect me and all that. It has just about started. And later, I get to know that in about 3 months' time, I got to know that this guy got an offer from Oyo, and he joined Oyo. So can you imagine? I mean, I was heartbroken when I thought that such a brilliant engineer who could make sports cars in college, and now his car is hanging somewhere or parked somewhere in the institute, and he's working in Oyo. Now, what in engineering that he's learned in IIT can he use in a brand like Oyo? You know, what can he do? So it's not just about that what you've learned, whether it's applicable or not. The matching is also very important. So if the same guy would have been, let's say, going into, some kind of automobile background, or a car or a EV company or something like that, yes, even he would be excited. He would love to do that work. They would get the best out of him. But sadly, in our industry, there isn't a matching of interest levels. So if you go for a job today, they'll ask you which college you're from. They'll ask you how much money you want. They'll ask you about your achievements and stuff like that, and about your grades and stuff like that. Nobody will ask you what do you like to do, what are you interested in, what do you love to do. Nobody asks you that, and I think that is the most important question. That should be the first question. It should start from that. So if you say that, sir, I like to do, I'm an enthusiast of automobiles and I've built a sports car, then obviously the guy who's recruiting you should be from that kind of a background. And yes, if you like hospitality, you like marketing, then yes, Oyo or some brand like that is great for you. Both of you will benefit. But right now, that matching doesn't happen. Unfortunately, it's very bookish again. It just goes by the set method again. Get the resume, see his grades, see his past work, see some work experience he has, stuff like that, and that's it. Nobody wants to know what this guy is interested in. So that's a huge gap, and we're trying to address that gap. I'm actually trying to make a program where we go to institutes and we recruit people from there or students from there who want to be entrepreneurs. So let's see how that goes. Maybe in about 6 months' time, that should be ready. And as soon as the college is open, we're going to go with that with a bang. Because I believe there are a lot of students there who want to be entrepreneurs, but they're not getting the opportunities, and they settle for anything that comes their way. And of course, some students have student loans and have liabilities on them. They have to. So I think somebody has to do that. That give them that help, give them that space that they can, perhaps they have that chance to do what they actually have loved to do till now, and what they are good at, and actually give that a shot. If it works, it'll change their lives. So it's that way.
All right. Talking about meeting different entrepreneurs, How has your experience at Horses Stable been? Has the quality of entrepreneurial ventures that you have come across really satisfied you?
Yeah, Hostel Stable was a lot of fun, I would say for me. A lot of fun. The experience was very good. The fellow horses are extremely good entrepreneurs and fine gentlemen in their own regard. So I had a great time with them. As far as the startups that were pitching, yes, there were some which were very, very good. There were some which, in my books, may not have been so great. It could have been better. But the entire show, the way that it was produced, the way it was managed, the way their whole process comes for spot offers and everything, that was very good. And in fact, I'm also looking forward to the third season. So and now I'm being what I'm hearing is that they kind of uh, the startups who are going to be pitching there are going to be very, very good and a notch higher than what were there last time. Because even people are getting more aware. The founders and the startups also getting aware of such kind of events, such kind of shows, such kind of platforms which they didn't know existed. So soon you'll see that there'll be much more application to such programs, to such platforms, because more people are getting aware. So now I think in season three they'll be even better because I think they've garnered about 10 million views or something. So now that so many people know about them, they're going to be flooded with applications, and the curation should be much better. But yeah, as a show, I think it's done a great job, fabulous job.
All right. Talking about startups, we've all heard how startup life is so difficult, right? Having to deal with all the kinds of things when you're managing a startup. Now, when we talk about, since you've been involved with startups for a long time, if there was something that you dislike about the startup culture in India today, what would it be?
Definitely this whole business of jargons, everybody gets into this thing of jargons. I'll tell you one of the words that I really hate is cash burn. So in events also, even judges or investors and the jury will ask you, so what's your cash burn per month? And very proudly, a startup will say, my cash burn is so much. So that's one thing which I don't think is the way you should look at a startup and being very proud that you're burning cash, because there are a lot of ways and a lot of ways to do the same thing without wasting money or without burning much money. I have myself do a session called how to start and grow a business without money. I've done that at least 5 times in my life. Without a single dime, I've started a business and built a business. So that can be done. Uh, in the same breath, the second thing which I don't like in the startup culture is the first thing people want to go out is for funding. Startups have barely started or just got on their feet and they want funding. It's all about funding. But that's actually detrimental. If you get funding too early, in the stage, then the whole burn issue happens, and you get in the mindset of let me burn money. But if you don't have money, and if you don't have money and you're bootstrapping, that is when the best of you comes out. You entrepreneur, you're thinking out of the box, you're coming up with solutions and creative solutions that you otherwise wouldn't have thought of. Once you have so much money, you are just thinking of how do I spend this money? How do I make my investor happy? How do I just somehow show the numbers so that my investor is happy and my business is running and I get my next round of funding? You don't use your brain to think about creative solutions or disruptive solutions and how this thing can be done better. And trust me, at least 5 times in my life, I've done that. And when I was very young, maybe in your age, when I was starting my first business, I purposely told my dad that don't send me money. I've done my MBA. If a guy after doing his MBA still needs money to start a business, then how am I special? How am I different from somebody else? Let me try. I literally tried and I came up with such different, brilliant things that those are the things that actually built that business for me. And they became such differentiators that I could charge a premium and I could, garner more customers. And there are live examples which I give in my session when I talk about this, that if I had the money, actually I wouldn't have been successful. I would have started thinking of, an office and maybe more employees, things. That's what you start thinking of. And, when you don't have that, you come up with much better and leaner models, leaner business models, and that's what it's about. So yeah, so these two things is what I don't like in the startup culture at all. And if that can be mended or kind of brought into an entrepreneur's mindset, I think it'll do wonders for him.
All right. Thank you, sir. Now, coming to a final question, where is the startup domain heading from here? Just like the last decade belonged to edtech, fintech, and other software as a service startups, any new trends you think might spring up in the coming year?
Well, I call it future tech. So I think the future is here already. You must have seen the video of the flying car that took its first test also. So I think future tech is, as per me, drones. Drones is going to be very, very big in the world. Not only even Swiggy has started their trials for food delivery in drones. So you can imagine food, medicine, agriculture, forests, it's surveillance everywhere. Drones is going to be very big. EVs is going to be very big. Even companies like Audi have announced that they're going to be only be making electric vehicles. That's a very, very big decision for companies, cult brands like Audi. So EVs is something that's going to be everywhere. By 2025, Tata Motors has said that they're going to come up with maybe 50 models of EVs. Two-wheelers, we're already seeing the whole demand of EVs. The problem of population and pollution, it all gets addressed by this as well. So yeah, electric vehicles is the second thing. Robotics is the third. So everything is going towards automation. So robotics is going to be very, very key, not only in the manufacturing sector, but now because of let's say advancement in that technology, it's even coming to the retail sector. You're seeing that even hotels in Taiwan and Japan have started keeping robots to clean the room, to serve the customers, and that's going to be even, let's say, even it's going to be coming up in a big way in healthcare. So right now we book an appointment with the person who's sitting there. We'll be doing that with the robot in the future. And definitely AI. So everything is going to be driven by AI, and we are already seeing that machines, the way they learn and the way they compute and the way they make a solution is way faster than human beings. And now we have so much of data, because as we are speaking on the Zoom call, what we are saying, how long we spoke, who you are, who I am, all that data is being collected by somebody or the other in the whole world. But who's going to logically get that doubt encapsulated? It can't be done humanly at all.
All right. Thank you for answering all the questions so patiently, sir. It was great to have you here at Evaluationary. And we personally thank you for serving as an inspiration to all the aspiring entrepreneurs. And it was great to have you, sir. Please have a great day.
Thank you so much. Lovely to be here, and thank you for having me.